Hi guys, this is Tim from Very Technical, and I'm here to walk you through quickly the programs you're going to need to safely unlock your 6950 shaders. So on the desktop here, as you can see, we have three programs: GPU-Z, RBE, which stands for Radeon BIOS Editor, and this folder here called Flash, which has the program ATI WinFlash inside of it. Now, GPU-Z and the ATI WinFlash, GPU-Z and RBE can both be found on the Tech Power Up site, and I believe ATI WinFlash can be as well, but I'm not, but no promises there. So the first thing you're going to need to do is open up GPU-Z. You may have to, clear it to run on Windows depending on your UAC settings. And underneath the ATI logo here, there's this little image, this little icon of a chip with a green arrow coming off of it. You're going to want to click that and choose the Save to File option. And basically it's going to bring up a directory. You can name it whatever you want. In the example that I used unlock, but basically you can use whatever you want. I would also suggest saving a backup copy, basically just in case something were to happen to that copy. Now, once you have the BIOS file saved, you're going to want to open up the RBE program, and again you might have to clear it to run on Windows. Now, there are a lot of options in this program, and there's a lot of stuff that you can do. You can tweak the default voltage, core clock, memory speed, basically everything. But all that's a little bit beyond the scope of this tutorial. We might come back to it at a later point, but for this tutorial, don't touch anything on the main screen. Instead, click on the Additional Features button at the top, and then on the right you're going to see this option that says Unlock 6950 to 6970, and that's the only option that we're going to want to touch. You're not going to want to change anything else, just because, if you do decide to change anything, be sure to read up on it and make sure you know what you're doing, because messing with the BIOS it's kind of tricky, and especially for graphics cards, it can be kind of dangerous. Though there is a backup BIOS, that's a lot of extra work that you're not going to want to do. So, excuse me, in order to load this BIOS that you saved, along the bottom is a Load BIOS button. You're going to click that. You're going to navigate to the file that you just saved from GPU-Z. Let's see if I still have mine. I'm going to open this up. And as you can see, this BIOS has already been edited. But the BIOS that you saved from GPU-Z is going to be a .bin file. This is a .rom. Basically amounts to the same thing, but RBE will save the file as a ROM, whereas GPU-Z saves it as a .bin. Just in case you were curious. So as you can see, this is the 6970 shaders are already unlocked on this BIOS file, but for you guys, the 6950 option will actually be selected. You'll want it to just choose 6970 shader count, and then you're going to want to go to Save BIOS. And, you can name it whatever you want, just make sure it's something easy to type and it's somewhere easy to find. The best place would probably be within that same ATI WinFlash folder, because it comes as a zip. You extract it, put it right in there, and it's going to be easy to find. So here it's already saved, so I'll exit that. So now that the file is saved, the next step, and hopefully the last if you're lucky. You might have to go through one extra little step if you're not, but we're going to open this up and start ATI WinFlash. And so it's going to detect your 6950, and what you're going to want to do is select load image, and then you're going to go and find that file that you saved from RBE, not the backup file from GPU-Z, but the file you actually edited. You're going to open it up, and then just make sure everything's good to go, and then you can hit program, and it will hopefully run through and save the BIOS to the card, the new BIOS, and you're well on your way. You might have to restart. I honestly don't remember, but we already did that on my card, so we're going to cancel. But right now I'm going to show you what might happen. At least on my XFX card, it would not flash even though the hardware switch was in the correct position. Okay, so as I was saying, my card would not unlock even though the hardware switch was in the right position. I couldn't get the BIOS to actually flash because it would not unlock. So what you have to do is open up a command prompt, basically just start menu, type in CMD, right click it, and choose run as administrator. And then what you're going to want to do is excuse me, this last line here, the other lines I kept making typos. So what you're going to want to do is navigate to the ATI WinFlash directory, and as you know, I had mine on my user desktop inside a folder called Flash. So I navigated to that, and then to the ATI WinFlash folder, and then you have to use an F switch, a P switch, a 0, and then the file name of the edited BIOS. And if you do that, basically you're forcing it to write the BIOS to the card, and I had to do that, and then it was able to run through the program and write the BIOS to the card, and all is well. But it's just one extra little step that you may have to do. Not all users ran into that problem, but a good number of them did, so I thought it was worth a mention. And basically, after you do that, and you do have to restart, sorry, I wasn't sure before, but you do have to restart. I verified it. So you're going to be able to open up GPU-Z again and see that you now have 1536 shaders. So you now have all the shaders of a 6970 card without the increased voltage or the core speed and memory speeds of the 6970, which the memory speed in particular was causing a lot of issues for some users, as I mentioned, where their cards were actually being irreparably oh wow, I can't say that word, irreparably damaged. And so I really didn't want to risk it on my card, and this is basically a safer option because you're using your own card's BIOS and just editing that value and then resaving your own card's BIOS, as opposed to flashing some other vendor's 6970 BIOS onto your 6950. Since you don't have that increased voltage, and you can technically change that with the RB utility, your best option, especially if you are planning on doing any overclocking, even if it's not exactly up to 6970 speeds, is to go into the Catalyst Control Center and the AMD Overdrive utility and mess with the power control settings. There's no definitive option. I know the Tech Power Up Guide recommends 20%. 10% seemed to work for me as long as I was staying within probably within 840 to 860 core, but basically beyond that things started to get a little hinky. So I decided to just put it up to 20% when at least for the Bitcoin experiment is what I did, so that I could push the core clock as much as possible without it throttling. And basically you want to do this because this power control setting is going to let you put more power into the card dynamically, and it's just going to make things a lot more stable. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this video section of this guide, and everything that you've seen in this video should be mentioned in the guide, especially the specific commands for the unlocking procedure. That way you can just copy and paste it instead of trying to read it off that command prompt image I showed you. And so yeah, good luck on unlocking your cards.